What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to build a brake drum forge out of some scrap metal and a few purchased pieces of pipe here. So this is just a brake rotor, so it's not really a brake drum forge. I'm using a brake rotor, and I think that's got a couple benefits. Number one, you have a nice lip to work with where this can set in whatever frame you build. You don't have to necessarily mount this permanently. And it still has that deep drum from where the parking brake was here. So you still get your depth in here, but you do have this lip that a rotor provides. I have gone ahead and cleaned this up already a little bit just to get some of the grease and brake dust and stuff out of here so we're not burning that once we put it into use. Don't necessarily have to, just something I felt like doing. And then I'm gonna use some of this scrap angle I've got some more behind me here. This is gonna be the frame. I'm gonna make the frame a little bit wider than what this rotor actually is, so I can put a little working area off to the side and have somewhere to set things or store some extra charcoal and things like that. And the only thing that I purchased for this were these pieces of pipe. So these are gonna be what the hair dryer connects to underneath to get some airflow into the forge. So this pipe cost me about $20 to $30 for all these fittings and stuff, and we may not use this flange that I've got. We'll see about that, but not too much money is going to be wrapped up into this project. These are a little pricey just because it's 2-inch, and that's kind of what you need. So overall, not a very expensive project at all, and it should provide some decent results. So let's get started. The first thing I am going to do is start working on the frame. So I'm going to cut this out. Like I said, this is just going to sit in there. So I'll have a rectangle with another cross brace just to support this fully around all edges. And then I'll leave that little working area for the sides. Height doesn't really matter. I mean, comfortable working height is good, but it's really up to you. Since this is just where you're going to be heating things, you're not really working over it necessarily. So bending over a little is not going to be that big of a deal. So let me get some of this cut up into a frame and we will go from there. So looking at this, we're going to go about 14 across. That's going to bring these in slightly, so there'll be a little more of this sitting on the angle. We'll go 14 across and 14 this way before we get this other cross member in, and then I'll leave another square on the side that is going to be my little work surface. So that's the plan. Let me get to cutting. Here's the frame, all the pieces cut for the top frame. I just gotta notch these corners so that this is all flush on top. That way when I do put my work surface sheet metal on, it's all nice and flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these all notched out and start tacking things into place. The frame's done and welded together. I didn't show too much of that because it's really going to depend on the material that you've got available. Mine was 1/4 inch angle. It's about 1.25 inches wide on both sides. Plenty heavy enough for what we're doing here. So the next step is going to be making a plate to cover the holes in your rotor or drum. Again, this is going to vary based on the size of the drum or rotor you're using. It does not need to cover this entire bottom. You just need to cover up these holes. So it can be square if you need it to be. I'm going to trace the bottom of this onto this 1/4 inch sheet, and then I'm going to cut it on the plasma cutter. You can do it with an angle grinder. I have the plasma cutter and want to get some more time on it, so that's what I'm going to use. And as I said earlier, it doesn't have to cover the whole bottom, you just got to get your holes covered. So this doesn't cover the entire bottom, but it does cover all of the holes. I did give this a bevel where I'm going to weld, and I will get this welded on. We still need to cut a hole in the center of this. Now, you can do this two ways. You can do it before and then line everything up before you weld, or you can weld it and do it after. That's up to you, whatever's easiest for you. For me, I am going to weld this on and then just cut it with the plasma cutter once again in the center. You can use a hole saw if you have one, whichever way is easier for you. Alright, so I got my hole cut in the center of this plate I welded on, and I am going to just weld this flange on. Some people do drill holes and bolt these through so they can reuse these, but honestly for the $6 or $7 one of these flanges costs, I'm okay with buying a new one if I ever need to replace this, because I'm going to have to cut out a new plate anyways. So I'm going to get this welded on. Everything else is going to screw into this. There's not much left to go. We just have to put the plumbing pieces on, and then I'm going to make a little plate for the bottom of the air tube so that I can both get rid of any debris that falls down and also adjust airflow if I need to. So here's the forge as it sits now. Frame's done. The actual fire bowl rotor itself is done. The only thing we have to do now is do something here at the bottom. We need some sort of cap, but we need to be able to open it so that you can get rid of some of the clinkers and stuff that are going to fall in there. But we also need to be able to control airflow. So inside the bowl here, you can see I just kind of made a grate out of some round stock that is just welded in there. And then this is what we're going to look at here. And we need to come up with a plate for the bottom of this. So I came up with this plate. I just traced the bottom of the pipe and cut this out. Left it kind of teardrop so I could drill a hole for this bolt. And all I'm going to do is weld this onto this piece of pipe like so. I'm just going to weld this nut on. And with that welded on, it's going to allow me to turn this plate and adjust any airflow or completely open it to get rid of anything that falls inside. And I think I'm going to eventually get a spring for here just to keep some tension on this plate so it's not too easy to turn, but this will work fine for now. I will be able to take this bolt back out and you get a spring on there. So let me get that welded up, and then the forge is pretty much done. As you just saw, the forge worked out great, and it definitely gets metal hot enough to forge with. There are a few things I am going to add to this and modify. And you'll kind of have to do this on your own as you use it to see how you want it set up. I definitely want to get something added to this half where I plan on putting that work surface. I just need to find the right metal. I don't have anything heavy enough here to use as a top for that. So I'm going to find that, or maybe even some expanded metal, depending on what I decide to do on that side. The block off plate for the bottom of the air intake tube works out great. I'm glad I did it. It's easy to move, and I had it open most of the time to keep air from going to the fire bulb just because of how fast the hair dryer moves air. But I was able to control it very, very well. What I think I'm going to do is definitely get a spring for it to get a little tension on it and keep it from being so easy to move. I'm also going to end up coming up with some sort of handle to put on that plate so I can just reach under and grab it instead of having to go all the way underneath to that tube. That's going to help out. I may end up actually forging that and then welding it on, or I've got some round stock that I can just make something simple out of. But other than that, it worked out very well, and I'm super happy with it. My anvil will be here tomorrow, and I got to make a stand for that, and then I can get to forging. I know I didn't cover a lot of the frame. That's not really the important part. The frame I did out of scrap metal because I had it available, and that's just what worked. You can do this with any scrap metal you have as long as it's strong enough to securely hold that fire bowl, because you don't want that to tip over or anything like that. So as long as you have it heavy enough and wide enough where it's not too tippy, you can use whatever scrap metal you've got. Some people have put legs right to the rotor or drum. That seems to work pretty well. I went this route because now this table, I can pull this right out of there and be able to replace it, move it, change it, whatever I need to do. If you're looking for a scrap metal project and want to be able to use even more scrap metal, this is a great way to go. It's very inexpensive. Like I said, I've got about 30 bucks wrapped up in the plumbing pieces, and that's about it. Everything else was scrap metal. The hairdryer we had laying around the house, but if you need one, you can go to a Goodwill or secondhand store and grab one for a couple bucks. But this is one of those use what you've got projects, make it so it fits your uses and your needs, and just kind of go from there. And as I said, I'm going to be modifying things on this as I go forward. You should do the same as you figure out what works and what doesn't. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, and look forward to some blacksmithing videos here in the near future.